Welcome to the Muhammad Ali Center here in downtown Louisville. Now, this is one of the city's crown jewels for a reason, Eric.
It really is. I think you and I both really love what this center has done to show the struggles and the accomplishments of not just African Americans here in Louisville, but around the world. This exhibit where we're sitting is a perfect example of that.
And hopefully you at home are familiar with our Moments That Matter series. It's a really good opportunity for us to share the stories not only locally here in the state of Kentucky and in Indiana, but also all across the country about the struggles that African American people have had in our community. So today, as we continue to celebrate Black History Month here in the city of Louisville, we are bringing you these stories in their entirety.
So we are going to start with something with which we're all familiar, basketball.
Yes, Tyler Griever sat down with two University of Louisville basketball players who are truly making history.
Our women's team has just gotten, we're on the national stage, it's just incredible.
As two legends watch Louisville women's hoops, they remember building it.
Look at these pictures.
And then that's me.
There you are, okay. We were pioneers. I kind of feel like, wow, we started it all.
Valerie Owens-Combs and Von Macklin were the first Black women to earn Louisville basketball scholarships. Macklin was the first, getting a partial one in 1974, while Combs earned the first full scholarship in 1976. But at the time, being trailblazers wasn't on their minds.
You don't think about that. You're trying to survive.
No, who could play in that?
They were not familiar with Louisville. Macklin came from a small junior college in Alabama, while Combs' military family came from Germany before she went to Butler High School.
And people treated us different because they felt like we didn't even talk like we're from Louisville.
People were not friendly. I was from the country. You know, in the country, everybody speaks to everybody. So I got rid of that real quick.
Macklin picked up basketball, though, over a summer. The former cheerleader tried out for the Cards and made the team. But early on, the Hoops newcomer performed a basic practice drill wrong.
Everybody there laughed at me, and that was hurtful, very hurtful. And I told myself then, they won't ever laugh at me again.
They definitely didn't. The center was a natural rebounder, owning the second and third highest season averages in program history. She kept pushing to become a star and credits her mother, whom she lost to breast cancer during her senior year.
She'd say, don't give up. Don't let anyone else tell you who you are or what you can do.
A couple years later, Combs came to the Cards as a sought-after recruit. But entering high school, she was also new to basketball.
I was picking my hair out.
Her height stood out, though, to former Butler and U of L head coach Terry Hall at a junior varsity game.
She came and said, you know, I'm going to put you in the game. So I got out of the stands, played a JV game, felt like I must have did something right.
It started a Hall of Fame career. Combs set records while leading Butler to a state title before following Hall to Louisville. She became the first in program history to reach 1,000 career points.
Had we not moved back to Louisville and sports started getting really good for young ladies in high school, who knows what I would have done.
The U of L Hall of Famer thanks another in Macklin for starting it.
I'm basically really following in her footsteps. She paved the way.
In fact, Macklin coached Combs some as a Cardinal assistant.
She was a motivator, and she was a great assistant coach.
I appreciate her for being respectful, supportive, and encouraging.
It helped the two build a lasting friendship. They attend every women's basketball home game and often try to bring young girls to watch.
They just need exposure. I didn't have anyone to look up to when I started playing.
Anytime you can uplift somebody that shows the interest in it, I think goes a long way.
A long way to producing more pioneers.
I'm so proud of the girls now, and the sky's the limit for them.
Reporting in Louisville, Tyler Griever, WHAS 11 on your side.
So let's go back even further. The Underground Railroad may have been one of the biggest mysteries in history. Luckily now, we're able to learn more about it. Here's Alden German.
This room is a recreation of a typical slave owner's home in the 1840s and 1850s. Many of these artifacts are from that time. And while the slave owners were relaxing comfortably, their slaves were secretly planning their escape, making this home in particular a very important part of Kentucky's Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad, a slave's first step in the journey for freedom. Kentucky was a hotbed for slavery in the 1800s before the Civil War, but it wasn't until the 1830s that the Underground Railroad became more of an organized network. The Underground Railroad consisted of homes and churches acting as safe houses where slaves hid until their next move.
It's not necessarily a place where someone may hide. It's a place where people are escaping from.
Nancy Stearns-Thies is director for the Oldham County History Center in LaGrange. The museum is the original home of James and Amanda Mount. The Mounts were very involved in the slave trade. In addition to owning slaves, James Mount worked as the local slave jailer.
In consideration of the sum of $1,250 in hand paid by Amanda M.F. Mount, wife of James Mount.
The Mount family has troves of original documents from the mid-1800s, including newspaper advertisements. Many slaves escaped from their plantation. The Mounts used the paper to find the runaways.
She hired bounty hunters to go after, we have one that says 2 Negro slaves left, to join the Union.
The shrinking size of the printing press made it much easier for people to place bounties on runaways, in addition to placing advertisements searching for large quantities of human labor. It's unknown how many Underground Railroad locations there were in Kentucky. The state didn't keep good records. The Ohio River, however, was the point to cross for runaways. It was also the Mason-Dixon line. States north of it were free, making Kentucky, in a way, a gateway to freedom.
There were all kinds of escapes that people used. People would jump on steamboats. People would use railroads. Even the canals that were built up in Cincinnati, people would follow canals trying to get north to freedom.
Although the horrors of slavery can be tough to learn, the fight for freedom was instrumental in shaping our world today.
These people made great sacrifices for us to be able to live the way that we do today. If we forget these people, then we don't do justice to all of the sacrifices they made for us, and we don't appreciate where we live.
Reporting in LaGrange, Alden German, WHAS 11 on your side.
After the break, an unlikely man saves a historic Kentucky town.